Good day, ma'am. My name is Jerickson Sisinisa, BC3 Section Charlie, reporting the one of the 6 personalities. So, former Zamboanga del Norte Representative Romeo Los was accused of raping an 11-year-old girl in 1996. He was arrested on January 17, 1997 in Bagak, Bataan and was detained at the Makati City Jail. In December 1997, the Makati Regional Trial Court Branch 62 found Los guilty of 2 counts of statutory rape and 6 counts of acts of lasciviousness. He brought his case before the Supreme Court, but it is affirmed his conviction in 2001 and 2002. The lower court's guilty verdict paved the way of Los transfer to the New Bilibid prison in 1998. But despite his conviction, Los managed to run for re-election and win in the 1998 and 2001 election. He held his post until the Supreme Court upheld his conviction with finality in 2002. His name was subsequently dropped from the list of members of the House of Representatives. In its 2001 decision, the Supreme Court affirmed Los sentence of reclusion perpetua for each count of statutory rape and an indeterminate penalty of reclusion temporal from a maximum of 12 years and 1 day to a maximum of 15 years, 6 months and 20 days. For each count of act of lasciviousness, the convicted congressman was also ordered to pay the victim of 50,000 as civil indemnity for each count of statutory rape and act of lasciviousness, plus moral damage of also amounting to 50,000 per count. In April 2007, Malacanang acted upon the recommendation of the Department of Justice and commuted Los sentence to 16 years. 3 months and 3 days, Los was also ordered to pay the civil indemnity and moral damage earlier imposed on him by the Supreme Court. Los case whose sentence are considered for the commutation due to their conduct, ailing health and advanced age. That's all for my report about the 6 personalities. One of the 6 personalities.
Good day, ma'am. I'm Joey Gutierrez, BSc 3rd year, Charlie. Now I'm going to discuss a personality that granted executive clemency. Juan Ponce Enrile grant for executive clemency by former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo 2001 was a significant event in political history of the Philippines. Enrile, a former Senate President and Secretary of National Defense, has been convicted of graft and corruption in the procurement of military equipment in 2010 and was sentenced to reclusion perpetua or life imprisonment without parole. However, Enrile, who was 80 years old at that time of his imprisonment, appealed for executive clemency due to his age and declining health. After reviewing Enrile's petition for several months, President Arroyo decided to grant him executive clemency by commuting his sentence to time served. As a result, Enrile was released from prison and his conviction was erased from his record, essentially granting him for a full pardon. The grant of executive clemency to Enrile was a contentious issue in the Philippines and was met with a mixed reaction from various sectors of the Philippine society. Some saw the grant of clemency as a fair and humane decision, given Enrile's age and health, while others saw it as a politically motivated move by Arroyo to curry favor with her political allies. It is worth noting that the grant of executive clemency is a discretionary power of the President of the Philippines, and the decision to grant or deny clemency is influenced by the various factors such as the nature of the offense, the circumstances surrounding it, and the merit of petition. In this case, the grant of clemency to Enrile was seen as a controversial example of this discretion, and it remains a subject of interest in the legal and political arena.
I'm Maria Loren Rivera Torco. For today's report, I'm going to discuss Jamie Tadeo. Jamie Tadeo was formerly one of the leaders of the militant kilusang magbubukid ng Pilipinas, the KMP or Peasant Movement of the Philippines. Formed amid the 1986 People Power Revolution in order to push for agrarian reform until the peasant movement split into multiple groups in the 1990s. Crime committed. In January 1987, Tadeo figured prominently in the demonstration which led to the Menzola Massacre, a violent dispersal of peasant workers and students by the state security forces which left 13 dead. According to Tadeo, most of the 13 were part of the composite team purposely put to protect him from gunfire. In 1990, Tadeo was arrested and taken to the maximum security National Penitentiary at Muntinlupa, which supporters claim was due to his outspoken criticism of Corazon Aquino's executive order on agrarian reform. Asked about his views on the president, he remarked that she was running the country like her own hacienda. And retorted, I asked Cory Aquino for land for the peasant that she gave me Muntinlupa in Tagalog, or in English, tiny piece of land. Judgment and sentence. On May 4, 1987, Judge Roy A. Masajao Jr. rendered a decision in the report mentioned criminal cases finding the accused guilty of a crime of estafa as follows. Wherefore, premises considered that the court finds accused Jamie Tadeo guilty beyond reasonable doubt as principal of the crime estafa, as charged in the information, and hereby sentence him to suffer an indeterminate period of imprisonment of 6 years and 1 day to 8 years of prison mayor as minimum, to 10 years and 1 day to 12 years of prison mayor as maximum, and all the accessories penalties provided by the law with cause the official. Seeking clemency. Kilusang mangbubukid ng Pilipinas leader charge of the swindling during the martial law era under President Ferdinand Marcos. Clemency granted, also absolute pardon by Ramos in 1998 by the President Ferdinand Marcos. Reason for clemency. President Ferdinand Marcos granted absolute pardon by Ramos in 1998. As the President Marcos said, in our support for farmer empowerment, I would like to announce here the grant of full presidential pardon to Ka Jamie Tadeo of the kilusan ng mga mambubukid ng Pilipinas. Next is Joseph Estrada. Joseph Estrada, whom granted by executive clemency, is former President Joseph Estrada. Joseph Estrada is a Filipino politician and actor. He serves as the 13th President of the Philippines from 1998 to 2001. In 2001, he became the first chief executive in Asia to be formally impeached and resign from power. Crime committed. Estrada was convicted in September. After a 6 years trial, he was found guilty of plunder for collect millions of dollars by the office from illegal gambling and taking illegal commissions from the purchase of shares by government pension funds. He has been under detention for 6.5 years. Judgment of the case and sentence. In 2007, Estrada was sentenced by the Special Divisions of the Sandigan Bayan to reclusion perpetua under the charge of plunder and embezzlement $80 million from the government, but was later granted a pardon by the President and his former Deputy Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Pardon granting executive clemency to Joseph Ejercito Estrada. October 27, 2007, the Malacanang Palace, Manila, President Arroyo granted executive clemency to Estrada based on recommendations by the Department of Justice of DOJ. The actions comes just day after Estrada asked Ms. Arroyo to pardon him in what his lawyer described as the national interest. The former president had previously insisted he would reject and deal with Ms. Arroyo. The Philippine media have been given the pardon issue heavy coverage in recent days, with editorials warning against the dangers of deal favoring rules in which play the hero and underdog. He's still popular with the masses and has always denied the charges against him.
Good day, ma'am. I am Shadow C. Piastro. So in this video, I'm going to discuss of one of those personalities whom granted by the executive of clemency. So, Robin Padilla was one of those person who have been granted by the executive of clemency, which is the absolute pardon. So, Robin Padilla, also known as a Robin Hood Ferdinand Carreño Padilla, he is a Filipino actor, film producer, and screenwriter. He was born on November 23, 1969. In Manila, Philippines. Padilla gained fame for his roles in action films during Padilla gained fame for his roles in action films during the 1990s. Apart from his acting career, he is also known for his involvement in social and political issues. So, Robin Carreño Padilla, crime that he committed. Robin Padilla was correspondingly charged on December 3, 1992 before the Regional Trial Court, which is the RTC of Angeles City, with illegal possession of firearms and ammunition under PD 18662 through the following information. Willfully and unlawfully and feloniously have in his possession and under his custody and control 1 M6 BB Armalite rifle SNRP 131120 with 4 long and 1 short magazine with ammunition and 1 caliber revolver Smith and Wesson with 6 live ammunition, 1 Pietro Beretta with clip and 8 ammunition without having a necessary authority and permit to carry and possess the same. All contrary to law, the lower court then ordered the arrest of petitioner but granted his application for bail during the arraignment on January 20, 1993. A plea of not guilty was in long and 1 short magazine with ammunition and 1 caliber revolver Smith and Wesson with 6 live ammunition, 1 Pietro Beretta with clip and 8 ammunition without having a necessary authority and permit to carry and possess the same. All contrary to law, the lower court then ordered the arrest of petitioner but granted his application for bail during the arraignment on January 20, 1993. A plea of not guilty was entered for petitioner after he refused, upon advice of counsel, to make any plea. Petitioner waived in writing his right to be present in any and all stages of all of the cases. Judgment of the case and sentence. After the trial, Angeles City, which is the RTC judge, David Rosit, rendered judgment date on April 25, 1994, convicting petitioner of the crime charged and sentenced him to an indeterminate penalty from 17 years, 4 months, and 1 day of reclusion temporal as minimum to 21 years of reclusion perpetua as maximum. The decision of the Court of Appeal sustaining petitioner's conviction by the lower court of the crime of simple illegal possession of firearms and ammunition is affirmed, except the petitioner's indeterminate penalty is modified to 10 years and 1 day as minimum to 18 years, 8 months, and 1 day as maximum. The reasons why Robin Padilla was qualified is because the President granted the pardon upon the recommendation of the Board of Parole, and which is under the Department of Justice. So, like the video said, like Duterte said, I just grant pardon in favor of Robin Padilla kasi yung original pardon niya hindi sinabi yung full restoration ng political at civil rights. Therefore, he could not travel, he could not get a permit to possess gun again. I really do not know the dimensions of what it meant by deprivations of political and human rights. But one thing is that you cannot vote, you cannot travel, and therefore he could not be issued a passport. That is what Duterte said. Basta, yung pardon ko is full of restoration of his civil rights and political rights. That is what President Duterte said. And he also added that, alam mo yung crime na yan, walang nasaktan. I mean, if it's a gun, just like the knife, it's sharp, it's potentially sharp. Ilagay mo lang sa lamesa yan, hindi mo galawin, hindi naman nakakaano yan. That is what Duterte said. Padilla was convicted for illegal possession of firearms in 1994 in 1997. He was pardoned by President Ramos and released from jail. But his pardon was not an absolute.